Okay, so now that we have the audio output set, I'm actually going to go ahead and copy this because we're going to be doing a couple more things. So we're going to come in here, and after this, we're going to go ahead and set the source. And we're going to make that, we're going to pass in the QURL, and that's going to be from local file, and from there, we're going to pass in the file path. Okay, so now we have the audio output set, and we have the audio files path set to it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into the audio file, just in case this is the this isn't the first time it's been played. We're going to go ahead and just make sure that the position, which is where you are in the audio, is restarted back to 0. And then we're going to actually go into the audio output here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to set the volume. And typically, you wouldn't set volume in here, at least not the way I'm doing it. If you were doing it correctly, you would probably have your GUI set this based off whatever. It's like if you had a slider in your GUI, you would probably want to pull the value of that slider into set volume, so it matched the volume of your slider. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So 1 basically means it's up all the way, and I believe it goes, from 0 to 1. So yeah, we have the audio output set, and now we're gonna go ahead and do this again. This is gonna change this back to audio output. In this one, we're gonna do set device, and we're gonna set this to the current output. And once we got that, now we're actually gonna go ahead and play it. So we're gonna do this again in the output, and we're going to go ahead and play. Okay, so now we're gonna create a quick list that's empty, and we're gonna call it QtDelete. Then we're gonna iterate through. If the lens of the self.playerDict is greater than 0, now we're going to start iterating through. So we're going to say for player in, for player comma player params in self.playerDict.items. Then what we're going to want to do is go into an if statement and say if player params. What we're going to do is we're going to say if the player params, and then we're going to go into the audio file. And from there, we're going to say dot media status is equal to the Q media player dot media status dot end of media. So this is pretty much saying if the current song is done playing, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and append that to the delete list. And we're going to go ahead and append the player. Okay, so now we're going to actually do one more iteration, and we're going to say for player to delete, in the to delete list, we're going to go ahead and pop these out of the dictionary. Okay, so now we have a audio function that will go ahead and add it to the dictionary, it will play it, and then it will remove it. So the reason why we do it like this is this now as a queue system. If you have like multiple buttons with tick hovering noises and you go down them really fast, when it plays one, if it's in use, it will just go ahead and add it to the dictionary, and then it will play one by one and pop them out. Okay, so now that our play audio function is done, basically what this is doing is every time you want to play an audio within Q Media Player, you can only, every time you create this object, it's tied to one audio file until you change it. So basically what we do is we add that to the dictionary and then we remove it, and we kind of self-manage it this way. Also, one thing we do need to change is source and set source actually needs to be capitalized. And it looks like I also forgot the I here in set position. I also made one more tiny error in here, and that's you don't play the audio output, you play the audio file. Sorry about that. So now we're going to go back into main and we're going to import these. So we're going to say from libs dot audio player, and we're going to go ahead and import audio player. And we're going to do the same thing for screens. So right after the engine, we're going to go ahead and initialize the audio player. Okay, so now we have that class started. Right under engine.load, before we actually start the application right here, we're going to go ahead and create the root object. And that will be the engine.root object. And then we're going to do a 0 here. Now let's go ahead and create the screens, or the screen changer. We're just going to call it screens. And that wanted the root object, which we now have created. Okay, so now below this, to be able to get them to talk, to get these signals and slots, or just specifically just to get these slots to work, we have to go into main, and now we have to set the root context to these two classes. So we're going to go ahead and create a dictionary real quick, and we're going to call this the context properties. Okay, and we're going to do an audio player, and we're going to make that equal to the audio player, and then we're going to do screens, and that will go to screens. Okay, so now that we have a dictionary of the properties we want set, we're going to go ahead and iterate through that. So we're going to say for name value in context properties dot items. And now that we're iterating through that, we're going to go ahead and just say engine dot root context dot set context property. Oh shoot, I'm doing this wrong. There we go. Dot set context property. And then we're going to go ahead and pass in the name and the value. Accidentally put two E's there. There we go. Okay, now that we have that done, remember, because we initialized screen, it actually went and hit everything. So now we need to show the main screen. So we're going to say screens dot show screen. Is that right? Yeah. There it is. And we're going to go ahead and pass in screen on. Now that we have the object name set, actually really quickly we're going to go back into screen changer, and at the end of the init we're actually going to want it to hide all the screens just to make sure everything is reset. I don't think I'm in the right scope. There we go. Okay, so now it'll load all the screens and then it will hide them all, and then in the main it will show the one you want, which will be screen 01. Okay, so now as you can see everything runs smoothly, and we actually have the ability to play audio now, although we are not actually using it. Okay, so now you can see in the dictionary it's actually showing me the default device name and then all the objects of the audio outputs. Okay, I think I'm going to call that a wrap on 4B. I'm just starting to feel like this is going to push 15 minutes, so we're actually going to go ahead and do 4C. And 4C, we're actually going to implement the advanced component that's going to go ahead and use screen changer and audio player. So thank you for watching, and I will see you back on 4C.